Channel Sports Central, we go over a college football game preview and prediction on the 2021 Citrus Bowl between the Auburn Tigers and the Northwestern Wildcats, two teams of which that have had good seasons, especially Northwestern on their side, who won the Big Ten West and coming off of a 3-9 2019 season. This team is now 6-2 and ranked in the top 15 in the nation. Meanwhile, for Auburn, they just fired their head coach, Gus Malzahn. This is a team that is 6-4, and they've still had a pretty good season, so this would be a big win to finish off the year and possibly gain some good momentum as they head into the 2021 season. So it will be an important game for both these teams moving forward. We're going to read a full game preview and prediction on this game here today, starting out with your team trends. Last game for Auburn, they beat Mississippi State 24-10 in their previous game on December 12th. Good win there to finish off the regular season for Auburn. But this is a team that is kind of a mess right now, and I think we all can agree with that. I mean, Auburn fired their head coach right before the bowl game, which is a really big surprise to me. Like, I understand this is kind of a down season for this team, considering they only went 6-4. But really, 6-4. I mean, it could be much worse than that. I mean, 6-4 is not that terrible of a record. And I mean, for Auburn this season, I would have at least kept Gus Malzahn all the way through the bowl game, which was kind of a surprise to me to see that they fired him before that. But I mean, either way, Auburn, if they want to make a change, make a change. But it was just kind of weird timing on that. But for Northwestern, they lost to Ohio State 10-22 in the Big Ten championship game, which they actually kept it really close there against Ohio State in that game. That was a really impressive, I want to say it was an impressive loss, but it really was out of Northwestern. I mean, Ohio State has been such a dominant team all season, and for Northwestern, I mean, they kept right up next to Ohio State in that game. That was a very, that was not a bad loss out of Northwestern at all. I mean, 10-22 is really just as good as everyone's done against Ohio State this season. But for the winning streaks, Auburn is 6-4, one-game winning streak. Northwestern is ranked 14th with a one-game losing streak, and they're 6-2. So both teams do have 6 wins on the season. This game is going to be on Friday, January 1st, New Year's Day, 1 p.m. Eastern Time in Orlando. Spread currently says Northwestern by 3.5. ESPN FPI also going with the Wildcats, or by the Tigers actually, 60%. They're going with Auburn, which is a little bit of a surprise there. But the Vegas prediction also going with Northwestern, 34-31 being the current projected final score. So Northwestern is favored here in 2 out of 3 areas. I mean, surprisingly enough, the FBI is actually going with Auburn here in a decent amount. I mean, 60% is a decent prediction towards the Auburn side, but I definitely think Northwestern's got a lot more momentum coming into this match. Like, if you look at Auburn, they've only got 1 win over the past month pretty much against Mississippi State, and they just fired their head coach. So really, they don't have any momentum right now. As for Northwestern's got a lot more momentum, and even though they lost the Big Ten championship game, this is still a team that I think is very skilled coming into this match, and they're definitely capable of winning this game. Vegas prediction, though, 34-31. Northwestern is favored here in the spread and the Vegas prediction. Here's your stat comparison for this game. Auburn's got 25 points per game, 23 points allowed. They got 212 pass yards a game, 172 rush yards, and then for yards allowed, they got 237 passing, and then 163 rushing. As for Northwestern, they got 23 points per game, 15 points allowed. They got 186 pass yards a game, 162 rush yards, and for yards allowed, they got 182 passing, and then 156 rushing. So really for both teams here, both teams are definitely low scoring. That is definitely something you will notice here, as both teams are right around 25 points per game on the season, which is a pretty low average there in comparison to a lot of teams. But both teams are good on defense as well, especially Northwestern, who's been great in the secondary this season, allowing only 182 pass yards a game. Very impressive out of Northwestern there to only allow that amount of yards. But really, I mean, if you look at Auburn here especially, Auburn's main concern for them has been in the secondary. Like, they've allowed 237 pass yards a game, which is not very impressive. Same thing with the rush defense. I mean, they've allowed 163 average rush yards per game, which is also not a very good stat. And that's been kind of the problem for Auburn, is the defense this season. I mean, even if you look at the offense here, like, they've got a great running back in Bigsby, who's put up nearly 900 yards on the season, 5 touchdowns. And another thing for Auburn this year has just been Bo Nix. Like, Bo Nix last season in 2019, he handled all the pressure and everything super well. He had a great season. But this season's been more of a down one in comparison to his 2019 season. As, I mean, he's put up 2,100 yards with 11 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. I mean, his main thing is his interceptions. He throws quite a few interceptions in compared to his touchdowns. But I mean, even if you look on the Northwestern side, like, Northwestern's improved a ton, having Peyton Ramsey at quarterback. He's put up 1,400 yards on the season, and he still has thrown 80 interceptions on the year. So, I mean, really for both sides here, both teams have got decent quarterbacks. It's just a matter of what secondary can play better in this game, and that's probably going to end up determining who wins this one. Some key points for this one. Auburn did fire their head coach, Gus Malzahn, prior to this game, which was kind of a surprise considering Auburn was coming into a decent bowl game in the Citrus Bowl here. And I mean, honestly, if I were Auburn and going to fire my head coach, I would definitely do it after the season. But still, I mean, no going back now. This is what happened. But as for Northwestern, they played against Ohio State better than anyone. That's definitely saying that's for sure. As they come into this matchup, Northwestern did play a really good game against the Buckeyes, and that's really going to be pretty impactful coming into a game against an Auburn team that's also been pretty good this season. But really, how each team will win in this situation, I think the quarterback situation is going to be a big factor in this one. I think the better quarterback is definitely going to win. The quarterback with the least amount of interceptions, I think, will win. I definitely think we will see the team with the least amount of turnovers is definitely going to win this one here, because when you got as evenly matched of a game as you do here, the turnover margin is going to be huge. And so that's why I definitely think that the team that wins the turnover margin is going to have a win here. But once again, still a very evenly matched game. This one is a very tough one to predict. But I got to go with Auburn actually here. I think this may be a little bit surprising considering kind of some of the things that I've said about Auburn in this video. But I think Auburn is just a more talented team. And I honestly think that they're going to take the head coach firing actually to a different level. I think they're actually going to take it as motivation to be a better team. And I think this is going to be an Auburn team that's really going to come out fired up. They're going to have a big game. They're going to start out fast, and I think that Northwestern will lead it at halftime, though. 17-10 will be the halftime score, but in the final, 27-23 is going to be the final score. Auburn is going to end up getting the win here. I think in the second half, we're going to really see Auburn turn on the Jets quite a bit. We're going to see them go right in front of Northwestern towards the end of the game, and I think Northwestern is going to keep it very close. I would not be surprised if the Wildcats won this game at all. I mean, Northwestern is definitely a talented team as well that could easily win this matchup, but I think Auburn personally is the more talented team. We've seen them play better this season. But Northwestern, I mean, if you look at Northwestern, they've got a great team as well. But I do trust Bo Nix more than I do with Peyton Ramsey right now. And Peyton Ramsey has thrown more interceptions. He's not as accurate as Bo Nix is. And so I think Bo Nix is the more reliable quarterback in this situation. That's why I got to go with Auburn. Let me know your thoughts and comments below, though, on this game. Score predictions, all of that. Let me know down below. This one was a tough one to predict, though. So, I mean, let me know your thoughts and comments below who you think will win this game, because I think Northwestern definitely is capable of it. But once again, I got to go with Auburn. But then again, I appreciate you guys all watching and sticking around. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll see you later.